Olá! Sejam bem-vindas e bem-vindos ao 7º Your Voice, o concurso cultural de discurso da cultura inglesa. Criado em 2014, o Your Voice chega agora em sua 7ª edição, em formato totalmente digital, com várias novidades, uma premiação muito especial. Vocês verão aqui, na competição, alunos da cultura inglesa dos estados de São Paulo, Santa Catarina, Bahia, Rio de Janeiro, Rio Grande do Sul, Distrito Federal, Goiás, Tocantins e Espírito Santo, de nível de inglês básico, intermediário e avançado. O objetivo da cultura inglesa com este evento é valorizar a importância da comunicação oral no mundo, preparar o aluno da cultura inglesa para expressar suas ideias com segurança em público, propiciar ao aluno da cultura inglesa um momento muito especial de pesquisa e troca cultural com seus pares e, por fim, apoiar e valorizar o aluno da cultura inglesa que deseja ser um agente transformador do mundo, a partir do compartilhamento de suas ideias. Os candidatos que estão aqui hoje já tiveram seu vídeo de inscrição analisado em uma etapa offline e essa é a primeira apresentação de todos ao vivo. Antes de iniciar as apresentações, gostaríamos apenas de repassar algumas informações e algumas das principais regras. Tudo bem? Primeira coisa, vocês já conhecem o app do Your Voice? Vocês podem encontrar instruções para acesso pelo site do Your Voice. O link já vai aparecer aqui no chat para você poder entrar lá e baixá-lo. No app, é possível se conectar com os candidatos, fazer postagens, interagir com as postagens dos outros, checar a programação e ainda receber nossas notificações sobre as novidades do concurso. Eu espero te ver lá. Bom, ao se inscrever, os candidatos escolheram um time do qual queriam participar. Temos 8 times participantes, representados pelos 8 grandes oradores que vocês viram na nossa vinheta de abertura. Hoje, temos aqui candidatos dos times Oprah Winfrey e Steve Jobs, todos concorrendo juntos a 5 vagas por categoria na semifinal. Os alunos se inscreveram e foram divididos em 8 categorias diferentes, de acordo com o nível de inglês de cada um. Cada candidato concorre, portanto, somente com aqueles que estão inscritos na mesma categoria. Nesta sessão de agora, se apresentarão primeiro os candidatos da categoria 6 e depois os candidatos da categoria 4. Vou primeiro, então, repassar detalhes específicos da categoria 6 e após o término das apresentações dessa categoria, eu repasso os detalhes da categoria 4, ok? Cada categoria possui uma duração de discurso diferente. A duração estipulada para o discurso da categoria 6 é de 2 minutos para cada candidato. Há uma margem de tolerância. Então, cada candidato pode se apresentar, ter um discurso que dure entre 1 minuto e meio ou 2 minutos e meio. Temos aqui um timekeeper, a Vanessa, que controlará a duração de cada apresentação e fará soar um sinal como este aqui, para alertar o candidato sobre a duração de seu discurso. O sinal será tocado quando o candidato atingir 1 minuto e meio. Depois, novamente, quando atingir 2 minutos. E será tocado uma última vez se o candidato atingir 2 minutos e meio, indicando que ele deve interromper o discurso imediatamente. O candidato terminar seu discurso antes do primeiro sinal sonoro ou depois do terceiro sinal sonoro pode ser penalizado. Após o término da apresentação, os candidatos respondem a perguntas e cada categoria possui uma regra para isso. No caso da categoria 6, os candidatos responderão a 2 perguntas que podem ser feitas somente pelos jurados. A duração máxima para a resposta de cada pergunta é 1 minuto. E o candidato que não iniciar sua resposta em até 10 segundos perde a chance de responder. Se a conexão de algum candidato falhar ou cair, não se preocupem, tá bom? Nós seguiremos com as apresentações, mas daremos uma nova oportunidade para o candidato retomar sua conexão e se apresentar novamente. Aqui estão as juradas e jurados Caio, Carla, Júlia e Rosângela. que avaliarão os discursos apresentados e se reunirão após a apresentação de todos os candidatos para definir os vencedores de cada categoria. Vou pedir para os candidatos abrirem suas câmeras rapidinho agora, só para podermos ver um pouquinho da carinha de vocês e tirarmos aqui um print dessa tela para gravar esse momento especial. Tem gente que não abriu câmera. Todo mundo pronto? Sorrisão? Mais uma. Só mais uma. Obrigada, gente. Agora vocês podem novamente fechar a câmera de vocês. Muito obrigada. Então, faremos aqui rapidamente, agora, um sorteio para definir a ordem de apresentação dos candidatos das duas categorias. Vou contar com a ajuda da Fernanda para isso. Fernanda?
Olá, oi pessoal, boa tarde. Sejam todos bem-vindos. Vou fazer um sorteio aqui, vou compartilhar a minha tela com vocês, tá bom? Para fazer esse sorteio ao vivo aqui. Vamos lá. Já estão vendo a tela aí? Então, estamos aqui com os nomes da categoria 6, tá? Que são os que vão se apresentar primeiro, e eu vou embaralhar. Então, essa é a ordem. Roberto será o primeiro a se apresentar, segundo é o Luiz Gustavo, José Eduardo é o terceiro, a quarta, Maria Clara, quinta, Melissa, sexto, Pedro, sétimo, Marina, oitavo, Nuno, nono, Marcelo, décimo, Júlia, 11º, Isabela e 12º, o Vitor. Tá? Categoria 6, então, essa é a ordem. Já vamos sortear a categoria 4. Estamos aqui com os nomes dos 5 participantes e vou também embaralhar. E o CEF será o primeiro da categoria 4, depois a Luísa, depois a Maria Fernanda, depois o Luiz Fernando e depois a Sofia, tá bom? É isso, passo a bola de volta para a Marisa e boa apresentação a todos, gente.
Obrigada. Bom, então vamos começar? Nós que estamos aqui dentro do Zoom, iremos fechar nossas câmeras e microfone. Só fica com câmera e microfone aberto quem for o speaker da vez, tudo bem? Muito obrigada a todos e bom evento. Vou chamar então Roberto.
Olá.
Olá, Roberto, tudo bem? Quando você estiver pronto, estamos prontos.
When I was a child, I used to say, I felt so happy that I could die. Cool kids never have time. Soccer, dodgeball, video game, cringe things. As a young man, I thought that sometimes the winner is just a dreamer who doesn't give up. As an adult, I start to think that the future is not what it used to be. Because even with everything around me, I always convinced myself that I didn't have enough. I see brining early for the daily races, and I realize I see brining early for the daily races, and I realize that I don't know the history of those people. On the bus, on the streets, selling breakfasts, in the squares playing chess. So empathy is the road. This is the path to changing, bringing our voice together. One of the interesting aspects that we observe today is the lack of critical sense of information. Thinking little based on facts already exist, but the internet and technology expose everyone's opinion, make the different ways of thinking more evident. It can be seen that's not a lack of information, but the fact that an ordinary person can differ in ideologies from another much more than we could predict. This shows us not that we are who we want to be, nor that we are who we should be, but that we have changed, and that it's what keeps our hope. So yes, I think there are many dangers in modern life. Humanity has advanced, even if with end steps and unwilling. So empathy seems to me to be the only answer.
Obrigada, Roberto. Vamos agora à pergunta dos jurados.
Hello, Roberto.
Hello.
How is it possible to develop empathy by looking and interfering or interacting in social media? How is it possible to develop empathy in social media?
I think it's important you show your ideas and interact with the people. So if you can show your ideas, trying to understand the other, I think it's the better way to, in the internet or in all of the medias, you can interact and show your opinion to trying to understand the other. I think that's the point.
Hello, Roberto.
Hello.
In your presentation, you mentioned you would wonder about the future when you were a kid. So how different is the future now from what you used to wonder, to imagine?
I think inside me change everything. So I see the word difference, and now I understand that the people are more than they look like. So I think what then change is more inside me. And after that, I realized that words is hard, but you can change. I think is that. Okay.
Obrigada, Roberto. Bom, vamos ao próximo candidato, Luiz Gustavo.
Hello.
Olá, Luiz. Tudo bem?
Yes.
Tranquilo, quando você estiver pronto, estamos prontos para você.
Okay. When something is important enough, you do even if the odds are not in your favor. Or even the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who can really change it. These two phrases were mentioned by Elon Musk and Steve Jobs, made the ones who allow us the pace of life we have nowadays. And you know the difference between them, me, or you? Their voices make the difference. Hi, I'm Luis Gustavo. I'm 15 years old and I will talk about the best route to engage us all voices. Changing the world is a thing that we all do all day. Maybe isn't a big change, but certainly it will impact the life of people close to you. But nowadays, hundreds or thousands of things happens every second. So enforcing your voice is the best way to ensure a better future, independent of your gender, your color, or your purchase power. We've always talked about Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., but it's time to be like them, strong like them. They are mortal, like us, and everything they did, we can do too. Tupac. But how can I enforce my voice? Well, just express your opinion, share, debate, and listen to what others are saying. With this, people around you will see how do you think and rethink their ideas or develop new ones. So more and more questions will appear, and that's how we evolve as human beings. We became arrogant, just accepting our own conclusions, and with this, we strengthen another ones to show their point of view. And unfortunately, we can easily find examples that just proves that expressing ourselves is a human right, and everyone had this right since we are born, which is essential to develop people who can choose the best option for realizing their dreams. And that's the best route to engage all voices. I hope you have enjoyed it.
Sorry. Obrigada, Luiz. Vamos agora às perguntas dos jurados.
Hello, Luis. Good afternoon.
Hello.
You mentioned some important, some well-known people in your speech, and I'd like to know from you how you believe technology can change our world.
I think when a scientist or inventor innovates in something, for example, Elon Musk is trying to create a better planet, I think, by doing fast transportation and cheap things for us. So I think this englobe a lot of a huge part of the society. For example, if I'm more poor, I have an option, I have an opportunity to have a car, for example. I think this is the importance.
Temos mais uma pergunta para o Luiz.
Okay, Luis, sorry, my camera. Luis, you mentioned changing the world through technology, right? How can we ensure that more people have access to more technology?
Maybe a project from these rich people or the people who have the option to create new things. I think if they want to distribute that, I think it would be like amazing, because when I have a computer, I have access to all over all the world with just a screen and a keyboard. So even the most simple innovations are amazing because they can open a door and contribute for culture, knowledge, and those kind of things we need to have. I think it's that.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Luiz Gustavo. Vamos ao próximo candidato, José Eduardo.
Hello.
Olá, José, tudo bem?
Sim.
Quando você estiver pronto.
Okay. Hi, my name is José, and today I'll talk a bit on how the best route to change engages all voices. You see, when I first saw the theme for this year's Your Voice, I was very confused. What exactly does it mean to engage all voices? And is there even a way to change the world while doing that? I kept trying to think of what the theme meant, and I did that for a long time. But after a while, I realized something. I realized that the true meaning to all of this was under my nose all along, and that was the exact contest I am participating in, Your Voice. This tournament is the prime example of how the best route to change engages all voices, since it manages to send out a message to the world, and while doing that, encourages hundreds of people to express themselves around that message by making a speech about it, which is enrolled into each year's chosen theme. I find it real cool that the contest is all about making other people take a stand at sending those messages. It's even in the name of the contest, Your Voice. Like, you're the one that's got to send the message. This program is about you and what you're going to do about this, not about anything else. Now, I am aware that Your Voice isn't a world-changing event, not even close to that. But I do know the benefits of doing and participating in such contests. And even if those benefits aren't something that can help change the world, by inspiring people and maybe even helping them find a hobby they really like, it can still change someone's life. And if something as simple as an online event can do that, it's definitely doing something right. And maybe, just maybe, that is because they're engaging all voices. Thank you.
Obrigada, José Eduardo. Bom, vamos às perguntas dos jurados.
Hello, José. How are you?
Hello.
My question is the following. You were talking a bit about our tournament, your voice, but apart from your voice, how do you think youngsters' voices can be heard in our world?
I think that mainly people young like me express their voices through social media and sites like that, because it's an easy way to send a message to the world and let everyone see it in a way that is easy to access and find that message. So I think that's a good example of how youngsters can send their message to the world.
Thank you.
Okay, José, which theme or which subject would you like to have more voice on? Like what would you like to tell the world? What subject drives you to tell the world and to make your voice heard?
I think that a theme that should be being more expressed, more people talking about it, is global warming, because recently the world has had that feeling that it's getting more of the consequences of that, because now it's becoming something that is more serious, and we are reaching the point where in the near future there will be nothing we can do about it. So I think we should really take a stand on that.
Obrigada, José.
Thank you.
Bom, vamos ao próximo candidato de hoje, Maria Clara. Maria Clara Coutinho. Olá,
Hi.
Maria Clara. Tudo bem?
Uhum.
Tá ok com a sua conexão? Tá tranquilo?
Tá, eu acho que tá. Tentando
bom.
pela internet. Acho que nossa.
Tudo bem, se houver qualquer problema, a gente reinicia.
Tá
Tá
bom.
bom? Quando
Obrigada.
você estiver pronta.
Tá. Why the best road to changing gates all voices? I'm Maria, and as you don't know me, I took curiosity about me. I want to be a speech therapist, and to decide that took a long time of thinking and researching. In the end, I realized that I want to help people to be heard, no matter how, by speaking or by even doing sign language. I want to help they to have a space to show their thoughts and to give they a chance to change the world or help others to do that. According to the 1988 Brazilian Constitution, everyone has the right to freedom of expression and opinion, which implies not to be disturbed by their opinions. Even so, this is not true for everyone, and because it is throughout the history. For example, it was only in 1932 that women in Brazil gained the right to vote. In the city council, we have only 50% of the seats occupied by women. And in 2010, for the first time of the history of Brazil, we got a woman as a president. Another shocking example is that it 133 years since slaves in Brazil gained the right to be treated as human rather than their objects. Similar to these examples, we notice that the majority of minority or even all of them are silenced every day of their life. For these reasons, people need to begin a chance to show their concerns. Just as Mahatma Gandhi said, be the different to see in the world. So a difference can only happen if you give the people the right to tell their stories and ideas. However, we also need to be look out for people who say they want to make this change, but deep down they just want to satisfy their own desires. Thank you.
Obrigada, Maria Clara. Vamos às perguntas.
Hello, Maria Clara.
Hello.
How does Gandhi inspire you? What did he do that calls your attention the most and that you would like to use him as an example?
Because I think he's a leader. So I think we need like a people to be inspiring to to make this change. And he says something like that I said to be the difference in the world. So I think he have like the great ideas to convince others to look out for the change.
Hello, Maria Clara.
Hi.
In your speech, you mentioned women's rights, for example, women starting to
Yeah.
vote in 1930. Yeah. So, what kind of changes do you believe women are still looking forward to?
As a human, I think that we look out for equality, especially with like men, because in all the history we see like we have this different of like work or salary and this thing. So I think we are look out for these questions and the for the respect, because we all the history are not respecting or yes, and we I think this is the most that we are looking for and fight for every day of your life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Maria Clara.
Obrigada.
Vamos à próxima candidata, Melissa. Melissa está por aqui. Bom, a gente vai dar a oportunidade para a Melissa entrar mais tarde. Próximo aluno na lista, Pedro Paiva.
Hello.
Olá, Pedro, tudo bem?
Tudo.
Quando você estiver pronto.
Okay. Hello, my name is Pedro. Have you ever been ignored just because you had different opinions than your friend? This is happening a lot in our world. Life is made of changes that are so necessary, be them individual or collective. But what is the best route to this change? Society lives in a time of intolerance where you can be cancelled, ignored just for the fact that you have different opinions. The name of this tournament is a great example of the theme. We are using our voices to engage other people in this tournament. When you engage all opinions, you cannot satisfy everyone because people will have different ideas and this will create a disagreement. But when you have so many voices or opinions, you will have a better change for everyone. These changes can be in every place, politics, school, even on your job. The route that all the voices are valued isn't the easiest because it is impossible to please all the voices, although it's the best form of getting changes. Engage, listen, consider all voices without discrimination is good and require the ability to give away and obtain the best for everyone. It can't be easy, but engaging all voices is the best and healthier way to bring changes. The opposite opinion is won by convincing, with good arguments, not ignoring. We have to change our world, valuing all people's voices. I'm counting on you.
Obrigada, Pedro. Vamos às perguntas.
Hello, Pedro. How
Hello.
important is it to have friends of different walks of life and different opinions? How important do you think this is?
I think it's very important because you can construct other opinions with your friends' opinions. You can argue with them or debate. Yeah, I think it's very important.
Hi, Pedro. How can we deal with divergent voices in a world of intolerance as it's been described in your speech?
I think we can deal with this is only arguing with arguments, but not just fighting with the other people. We can debate and no, don't like I forgot like the fighting with the people. You have to use arguments and winning the
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Pedro.
Thank you.
Bom, próxima candidata, Marina Leonardi. Marina. Bom, a Marina também vai ter a oportunidade de se apresentar após. Vamos ao próximo, Nuno Matias. Nuno Matias. Ok, próximo candidato, então, Marcelo Matos.
Hi.
Hi, Marcelo, tudo bem?
Bem.
Quando você estiver pronto.
Okay, so today I'm going to do some steps how to engage all voices. So I'm here in my workshop, located in my grandma's house, to record how to engage all voices. A good example is the Steve Jobs. He started in a garage workshop as well, but he engaged his voices with the ability of technology gadgets development. He started with simple things like motherboards, then computers, and then more recently the smartphones. The first step you need to do to engage all voices, you need to make different, be different. Because when you difference to other people, you live from the mediocrity. The second step is to select something you like to do. For example, play guitar, craft work, or program some software, etc. Something you really like to do and invest. Invest money, can be invest time and mental capacity in certain thing, okay? And the third step is make partnerships to help in your project. For example, Steve Jobs needed help of a guy named Steve Wozniak, an engineer and programmer, and he has the idea for Steve to start to start to sell his computer motherboards. Use the example for you. Call like an old friend, etc. to help you, because everyone learns with other and counterwise. Like the expression, two is company and third is better. And if you invest in something, you're gonna turn different for other people. And remember, sometimes the people judge you about because if your ideas, but don't worry, keep it up your idea and don't give up. Many inventors try much times to something worth. So it's this. Be creative and thank you.
Obrigada, Marcelo. Vamos às perguntas para o Marcelo.
Okay.
Hi, Marcelo. You've mentioned Steve Jobs in your speech, right? So how can you convince people your ideas are valuable? Because Steve Jobs had some hard times doing this, yes? So how can you do that?
Like you can use a good tool like name it as social media. It's a very good tool, and you can share with your friends, and your friends share to other people, and uh, you reach new people to say your ideas.
Thank you.
Hello, Marcelo. How difficult is it to think outside the box and do things differently? You know, because Steve Jobs innovated a lot. How difficult do you think this is?
So needs practice, and you need to practice a lot to you leave the box, because within the box you don't practice too much. And Steve Jobs practiced for his projects. So invest time. So I said in my speech.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Marcelo. Próxima candidata é a Júlia. Hi, Júlia.
Hi.
Olá, tudo bem?
Yes, I'm fine.
Quando
So,
você quiser começar.
okay. I'm Julia Saunders Silveira, and I'm 15 years old, currently living in Vila Velha, Espírito Santo. And today I decided to talk about a more specific topic. First of all, I want you to picture that scene in your mind. You're walking on the streets, on the sidewalk, when you suddenly stumble upon someone with a disability. And I bet you've ever been in a situation and felt pity for them. But I gotta say to you that this is a form of prejudice, called capacitism, which is basically the form of prejudice against people with disabilities. And it goes really beyond pointing at people on the streets or calling them names. It's also about thinking that they're less valuable, less capable, less human just because of their condition. And that's not true. And a lot of people don't know what that means because it is so intrinsic in our culture, our society, our daily life that we don't understand where is the problem. So one example of that is the fact that in our schools, we don't learn Libras, which is the Brazilian Sign Language. And it's so unrealistic because a lot of people in our country don't know, can't speak, can't listen, and they can't communicate with us because we don't know how to speak their language. And a lot of things that I've learned about capacitism was with my best friend who has cerebral palsy. But I invite you to go on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and search for more people with disabilities on their place of speech to teach you more about that situation that they live in. Like one of my favorite channels on YouTube is Vai uma mãozinha aí from Mariana Torcoso, which is a woman that doesn't have an arm. And she talks about her daily life, the prejudice that she suffers. And it's so amazing to see her work that I think that more people should see it. Also, our world, not only about capacitism, but our world needs to change because it's just, why aren't people talking about that if it's so present? Yes. And like if you see movies and films, you barely see people with disabilities. And I don't know why that happens. So I really think that is important for us to learn more about that. Because like Cher, the singer, said, we need more love and understanding in our world. That's it. Thank you for listening to my speech.
Obrigada, Júlia. Vamos às perguntas para a Júlia.
Hello, Julia. We're namesakes. So, you've mentioned some TikTok and Instagram. So, to what extent do you believe social media has helped people with disability have more accessibility, let's say?
Well, I think that social media is a great way to talk to a lot of people around the world. And I've seen a lot of TikTokers and YouTubers talking about their disability, and more people are getting to know that situation. And like my friend who I just talked about, she seeing a lot of people that can speak and can listen started to learn Libras. And so that actually helps with the accessibility of disabled people. A lot of like social media, on Instagram, we have that tool that you can write and describe what's on your picture. So people who can't see, who are blind, they can know what's shown on the screen. Like people can read for them. And I think that's really cool and really important.
Thank you.
Hello, Julia.
Hi.
So you talked about minorities, and especially minorities that have physical disabilities, but how important is it for us to really listen to the voices of minorities, even those who don't have a voice that you mentioned, the ones who cannot speak? How important is it?
I think that everybody suffers prejudice for some way. Like, I don't have a disability, but in my everyday life, I always suffer prejudice for being a woman. And I think that I can't just ignore the other forms of prejudice and just see what my problem. And I can't imagine how it is to suffer from the other forms of prejudice. And it's important for us to listen to other people to really know what they've been through on their lives, because we can't imagine, that's not something that we can close our eyes and see. So I think it's important for us to really understand the reality of other people.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Júlia.
Bye.
Bye. Vamos à próxima candidata, Isabela Siciliano.
Hi.
Olá, Isabela. Hi. Tudo bem?
Yes.
Quando estiver pronta.
Okay. Before I address this year theme, the best route to change engages all voices, I would like to talk a little bit about a word that caught my attention: change. We talk about it a lot, but what does it actually mean? And why is it so important? Change is the process of making things different. And in this context, I see it as a continuous effort to be the best we can be as a person and as a society. Because we can all agree we have a lot to change, right? We must turn the bad things we have into good ones and good things into even better ones. But now, why is it so important that all voices are involved in this process? As I like to quote famous philosophers, I'm going to quote the English philosopher John Locke. He used to believe that you can't condition someone else's freedom to yours. And by that, I mean that you can't be truly free if not everyone else around you is. And by free, I mean free to be who they are, to make their own choices, to go where they want to go, and so on. That's why it is so important to listen to all voices. This is the first step to make meaningful and true changes. So, the best route to change engages all people, all interests and goals, engages all ambitions and dreams, all hearts and souls. After all, the best route to change engages all voices. That's it.
Obrigada, Isabela. Perguntas para a Isabela?
Thank you, Isabella. You mentioned that we need to change right now, right? But how do you think, how often should we change? And then how do we know we have to change? You know, should we change like once and then everything's all right? Or keep changing uh, as the world changes?
Well, as I said, I think change is about a continuous effort to be the best we can be. Um, and there are like starving people, homeless people, people who are afraid to be who they are because, I don't know, their skin color or their sexuality. So we must change in order to be a best society, to be best people. Yeah, I guess that's it. We must be free and happy. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Hello, Isabella. In terms of change, if you could change something about yourself in terms of personality, what would it be?
I think I would try to be more empathic because nowadays I think I care too much about myself. So I think it would be really important to care more about people, see their problems and really understand it and do something to change it. And also I would like to be more curious, to think outside the box and to really question about how the world is nowadays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Isabela. Bom, próximo candidato é o Victor. Victor. Bom, eu vou chamar novamente, aqueles que eu chamei anteriormente não estavam aqui. Melissa. Marina. Nuno. E o Victor. Também não estão aqui. Bom, gente, eu queria dar os parabéns para vocês. Eu adorei ouvir vocês. E eu tenho certeza que todo mundo que está aqui também, que a plateia também gostou bastante. E vocês já são grandes vencedores por terem se superado, se preparado, chegado aqui, compartilhado ideias tão brilhantes com a gente, tá? Agora os jurados irão sair da sala para deliberação e retornam em uns 15 ou 20 minutos. Enquanto isso, eu quero saber quem foi o candidato vencedor da categoria 6, segundo a opinião do nosso público. Estamos colocando agora no chat um link por onde vocês poderão votar no seu candidato preferido, ok? Em cada categoria, haverá sempre um vencedor por voto popular, que estamos chamando por aqui de Audience Choice. Este prêmio de voto popular receberá um vale-presente no valor de R$100. Muito legal, né? Se por acaso essa pessoa também estiver entre os 5 nomes anunciados pelos jurados, aí sim ela também vai para a semifinal. Porque esse prêmio do Audience Choice não tem relação com a semifinal. Caso não, caso ela só receba o voto popular, aí então ela só recebe como prêmio o vale presente, tá bom? Vamos dar um minutinho para vocês, o link já está no chat, para vocês votarem rapidinho, e o vencedor será anunciado no retorno do jurado. E agora, nós vamos para a apresentação dos candidatos da categoria 4. Temos 5 candidatos dos times Oprah Winfrey e Steve Jobs na categoria 4. Portanto, devido ao número de candidatos, todos eles já estão com vaga garantida na semifinal. Mas para que eles cheguem na semifinal tão preparados quanto os candidatos dos outros times, eles irão se apresentar agora para vocês. Terão tempo cronometrado, irão responder perguntas e concorrerão também ao prêmio do voto popular. Os candidatos da categoria 4 devem fazer um discurso com duração entre 1 minuto e meio e 2 minutos e meio. A campainha será tocada quando o candidato atingir 1 minuto e meio, depois novamente quando atingir 2, e será tocada uma última vez se o candidato atingir 2 minutos e meio, indicando que ele deve interromper o discurso imediatamente. O candidato que terminar seu discurso antes do primeiro sinal sonoro ou depois do terceiro sinal sonoro pode ser penalizado. Após o término da apresentação, os candidatos respondem a 2 perguntas que serão feitas pelo nosso jurado Caio. A duração máxima para a resposta de cada pergunta é 1 minuto e o candidato que não iniciar sua resposta em até 10 segundos perde a chance de responder. Vamos lá? Vamos começar? Então, os candidatos da categoria 4. Primeiro, aqui seguindo o sorteio que a Fernanda fez inicialmente, é o Youssef. Olá,
Hello.
Tudo bem? Pronunciei seu nome correto?
Yes, Yusuf.
Ok, Youssef. Quando você estiver pronto.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Youssef Rodriguez, and in my presentation, I'm going to talk about social inequality between women and men in our society. The UN, United Nations, claim that women work more hours than men in the world. However, women have less rights. Women have less rights than men, or they have acquired the same rights much later than men. For example, in Brazil, women earn 20% less than men to do the same activity. In the world, this difference can reach 50%. In the globe, 41% of women with university degree are unemployed, while for men, this number is 17%. But this unfair reality is changing. The UN, United Nations, have established some global goals to help society achieve gender equality. First one is end all forms of discrimination against women. The second one is eliminate all forms of violence against women. And the first one is ensure the full and effective participations of women and equal opportunities at political and public life. Well, I do help get there. Thanks for listening to me, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.
Obrigada, Youssef. Vamos às perguntas do Caio.
Youssef, good afternoon. Thanks for your speech. What do women from your family think about the topic? Have you ever talked to them about it?
Yes, my man thinks the topic is very important because in your life, she is have very difficult in your work for gender reasons.
And can you think of simple actions that we can all put into practice in order to help this inequality between men and women?
Repeat, please.
Yes.
The connection failed.
Can you think of simple actions that we can put into practice to help women in our society?
First, we, the society, fighting ideal sexual, educating our people young for our people young for the better previous generations.
Okay, thank you very much, Youssef.
Obrigada, Youssef. Próxima candidata, Luísa.
Hello.
Olá, Luísa. Hi. Tudo bem?
A little nervous, but yes.
Ah, mas eu também estava no começo. Agora tá tranquila. Tudo bem? Dá uma respiradinha? Quando você estiver pronta.
Okay. So, the theme of the route to change engages all voices made me think of the Bible passage related to the Bible Tower. It tells about a time
when all the world's population had only one language, so everybody could be understood. People were so connected with the purpose of arriving in the sky by this huge tower that God had to come down to earth and puzzle them. This history shows the power of the engagement and the purpose. Let's think, if God hadn't come down and mixed up all people with language, would they be capable of touching the sky? The biggest power in the world is the ability to communicate. And the use of a common speech is the easiest way to make it, so that your ideas reach as far as possible. The use of English as the universal language is already halfway walked, because English is nowadays considered the most important language to learn in professional life. We can learn from Oprah that knowing what you do want to communicate is the first step to the message to be good received and good enough for people. My way to engage all voices is to use what we already have. In almost every country, more than half of the population use social media frequently. So we should use it for good. Be connected with only one purpose will make us able to discuss specifically ways to get the word to get better. Use everything we have in hands to work some kind of Greek agora. The young people are the future of the nation, and we should prepare them for that. Talking about Oprah and communication is the best thing because she's a phenomenal communicative. She had a TV program and was presented for 25 years on television. We all should be inspired by her, and use communication to be a good influencer as she did. Thank you.
Obrigada, Caio.
Hello, Luisa. You mentioned Oprah at the end of your speech, and I would like to know if you feel inspired by her, and how do you think Oprah can influence or inspire people to change the world?
Okay, she is a black woman, and she had an amazing influence of a lot of people. She really changed the lives of a lot of people, and I feel really inspired by that. I hope someday I could be just like her and change the world and make her voice be heard from as many people as could. Her ideas is like from some place and get to another world, and it's like amazing. I hope someday I could be just like her.
Thank you, Luisa. And at the beginning, you mentioned the Bible. Do you think religion can also help the world to become better?
Yes. Religion, to me, it's like based on a utopia. It's like one day all this is gonna be gone. It's gonna be gone, and the world will be better. Other people will be good. So what could change more than more than that? The hope that one day everything will be good. It's like the most inspiring thing. And all kinds of religions, I think. How people involved in religion think, oh my God, one day, well, everything I'm passing here, it's gonna be worth it. So I think it's the most important things to be inspired to.
Thank you very much.
Obrigada, Luísa. Então, próxima candidata é a Maria Fernanda.
Hello.
Hi, Maria Fernanda, tudo bem?
Tudo bem? Can you hear me?
It's yes, okay? I can hear you. Quando estiver pronta.
Hello, my name is Maria Fernanda, and I would like to start my speech with a question for you. What is the meaning of the word voice to you?
If you answer that is the sound or set of sounds produced by vocal fold vibrations under air pressure that travels through the larynx, well, congratulations, you are a dictionary in person. But that's not what I wanted to hear. And talking about listening, the voice is something bigger than we thought. It's actually when you hear someone talking to you, it's big, you know? You can see that you have this extraordinary tool when you smile, laugh, or even cry and make people do these things. You can change a lifetime or make a mark on others. We can change the world putting ourselves out there, of course. It's the most powerful thing to do and engage a real big change. With the internet nowadays, we can do a big difference, like through social media, like videos, podcasts, or even speeches. Maybe every path is valid. Of course, we have to remember that putting your opinion like right there, it's not like everyone will love you, but it will be hate. But you can understand that the world have differences, and it's okay. So yes, it's very important to put yourself out there and make yourself heard, but it's always good to remember that you can make yourself heard all the time with simple things in your life, like giving advice for someone you love or listen to someone. So I invite you to put yourself out there with simple changes, like with little baby steps, we can change the whole world with simple things. Thank you. Obrigada, Maria Fernanda. Caio?
Maria, thank you very much. You mentioned voice, something more related to the physical aspect, but also to something more abstract. I would like to know if you think that you are heard in your family, among your friends. Is your voice heard?
I think I am heard because like everything it's more like, how can I explain you, more than voice, you know, like everything matters in your environment. When you do something for a person that you love, you can put yourself out there and people can hear you in different ways, you know. I think it's that.
Yes. Do you agree that when you stand up for what you believe, when you are, voicing your opinion, it also brings a big responsibility? So what can we do to encourage teenagers or people at your age to voice their opinions?
I think that nowadays the social media are more reliable to us, to my generation. So with videos or podcasts, things that we are putting ourselves out there like right now, and it's difficult for people that are shy. So I think the social media is the stronger tool to put people like me out there right now for my generation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Maria Fernanda. Próximo candidato é o Luiz Fernando.
Oi.
Olá, tudo bem?
I'm fine.
Quando estiver pronto, Luiz.
Okay. For a change to happen, we need the join of all by the cause. For a change to happen, we need to unite our voices that seek for a cause, an idea, or a purpose. In the society we live, we realize that to have our voices heard, so that our rights were respected. Much of the times, it is necessary to have a lot of struggles so that there will be changes in the way of speaking to express oneself towards the cause that we seek. Won by this way, will the rights of all and now our goals be activity. We can mention one milestone that happened in the city of São Paulo that proved this to us, such as when we all took the streets to express your voices in search of the cause against corruption and the fall of President Dilma, asking for her impeachment, that in the end we got it. Therefore, the path to change is the one that engages all voices together for the same purpose. Thank you.
Obrigada, Luiz. Pergunta do Caio.
Luis, thank you. What is the best way that you can express your opinions or your voices?
Can you repeat, please?
How do you feel more comfortable to express your opinions, your voices?
I think is comfortable, very important in today.
You also mentioned a former president. You mentioned politics in your speech. How do you think politicians should help the society to be heard?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, you mentioned a former president, Dilma, right? You talked about politics. How should politicians hear the society, the population?
I think politician very important and has changed finally corruption in country.
Thank you, Luis.
Obrigada, Luiz. E a próxima. Obrigada, Luiz, desculpa. A próxima candidata da categoria 4 é a Sofia. Olá,
Hello.
Sofia. Tudo bem?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. Quando estiver pronta.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sophia. I'm 16 years old, and my favorite school subjects are philosophy and sociology. I really like to study about where and how we live. So my vision about the team, the best routes to change engages all voices, comes from what I see in our society and what I believe is correct for its evolution. And for each person, consequently, because I think that for social evolution, we need a personal evolution before. A society only exists because of each one who is part of it. The change in society only occurs if its members change. Basically, for this to happen, we need different voices. There's no change without knowing the difference, the new. We need to hear the differences for this, thinking a humanitarian vision. It's no use having just one idea taken as correct without knowing why others are wrong. Sorry. What I mean is that the only way to conclude that something is right is from other things wrong. Okay. So to change, we need to give everyone a voice, expand our vision, give space, and listen to what the different has to offer us. Always with respect, obviously, because to the other side, you are the different one. Okay, so having this in mind, a philosopher who we can mention is Arthur Schopenhauer, because one of his quotes is, "Every man takes the limits of his own field of vision for the limits of the world." Basically, we can understand that people conclude their visions of the world with what they experienced. They can't think about something they never realized, never thought about. So associating with what I said before, it's necessary to listen to other people, especially because they probably won't have the same past and the same opinion about the things. Essentially, this is my interpretation about the team, the best routes to change engages all voices. Thank you.
Obrigada, Sofia. Vamos à pergunta do Caio.
Sophia, thank you very much. You mentioned some school subjects, and it particularly caught my attention. So how do you think schools could help in this process of change?
Schools and families are the first social institutions. So I think they prepare the person to the life. So I think, I don't know how can I explain this, but having like an apoyo and I don't know, I can't think, how can I say this? I think that when you are a kid and you are younger, you stock more situations and more things and more things in your inconscient, and this like I don't know, how can I say this? It may make your values. So I think having a good classmates and a good structure, I think they can like not just give you the subjects and things like that. I think they can make you a good person, like with the values of the person. Sorry, it was so
It's
good.
okay, don't worry. And what about philosophy? What have you already learned from philosophy that can help you to make the world a better place to live?
I like a lot to hear about other visions. So I think philosophy was so good for me because I heard a lot of like philosophers. I like Nietzsche, but I think his vision of religion and something like that, I don't agree with all the vision. But I think was good for me to hear because I think I developed my vision about this and my empathy too. And I think philosophy is good for this. I think it's just it isn't just for the subject and to learn and hear the history. I think it's good for you like a person. I don't know.
Thank you, Gia.
Thank you.
Obrigada, Sofia. Muito bem, gente, vocês arrasaram. Bom, agora nós vamos colocar também no chat o link para a plateia votar no candidato preferido da categoria 4. Vamos votar, gente, rapidinho. Já está lá. Vota, vota. Dá um minutinho. Enquanto vocês estão votando, eu vou dar mais umas informações aqui. Hoje serão anunciados os 5 candidatos da categoria 6 que seguirão para as semifinais. Vão também para as semifinais os 4 candidatos da categoria 4 que eu anunciei aqui. Na semifinal, esses candidatos encontrarão candidatos de outros times e então serão selecionados alguns deles para a grande final no dia 5/12. Todas as fases a partir de agora são online e você poderá sempre acompanhar aqui nessa mesma plataforma. Aproveito para lembrá-los do app do Your Voice, que está muito legal. Lembra que eu falei no inicinho, para ir lá no site, tem as instruções, e por onde você pode se conectar com os candidatos, fazer postagens e receber todas as notícias do concurso. Todos os candidatos participantes do evento receberão o certificado de participação em até 10 dias, ok? Os candidatos que forem premiados receberão também um certificado adicional neste mesmo prazo. Todos os candidatos que chegarem até o final do concurso, no dia 5/12, ganharão um reader da NetGeo e poderão ganhar ainda o prêmio do voto popular e outros prêmios, como bolsa de estudos na cultura inglesa e isenção em um exame de Cambridge.
Legal, hein? Bora se preparar, afiar esse discurso e levar a sua torcida para lá. Bom, deixa eu ver se os jurados já estão aqui. A gente dá o resultado da categoria 6. Jurados. Oi, Júlia.
Olá.
Estamos aqui, sim.
Então, Júlia, quem são os semifinalistas da categoria 6?
Bem, primeiramente, eu gostaria de agradecer imensamente a participação de todos e todas as candidatas, né? A participação de vocês foi excelente e como o nosso tema falamos muito a respeito de engajar vozes para mudança, com certeza o primeiro passo para a mudança é a coragem, algo que vocês demonstraram ter muito fortemente hoje aqui. Então, parabéns, todos vocês são vencedores e eu gostaria de parabenizá-los mais uma vez e mesmo aqueles que não passarem para a próxima fase, que continuem praticando e com certeza vocês também serão agentes da mudança. Muito obrigada. Agora, acho que a Carla vai falar sobre a escolha da audiência.
Sim, eu tenho a honra de anunciar que a Isabela foi a vencedora do voto popular, do voto do público. Parabéns, Isabela.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys.
Ai, sorry. E você vai receber um vale-presente de R$100 da cultura inglesa. Né? Eu acho que... Congratulations.
Bom, sorry.
Eu acho que agora a gente vai anunciar, a Rosângela vai anunciar os 5 classificados.
Exato, isso mesmo, cara. Então, como já foi dito aqui, todos são vencedores. Nós tivemos que selecionar 5 pessoas, todos foram muito bem. Parabéns, parabéns pela coragem. Como o tema do discurso fala, Your voices were heard. E nós decidimos, então, foi um pouco difícil, viu, gente? Foi disputado o negócio. Então, os 5 finalistas, em ordem alfabética, são Isabela Siciliano Guimarães, José Eduardo Brito e Cunha Granado, Júlia Saunders Silveira, Marcelo Matos Nathalie e Maria Clara Coutinho de Andrade. Parabéns novamente. Nós nos vemos, então, nas semifinais.
Bom, parabéns, então, a todo mundo que participou. Eu vou chamar o Caio aqui. Caio.
Olá. Bem, assim como a Júlia falou, né? A mudança começa com a coragem, então parabéns a todos por estarem aqui, por se desafiarem, entregarem um discurso tão importante com tópicos muito importantes, né, relacionados à nossa sociedade. Então parabéns a todos os participantes aí da categoria 4, vocês todos já estão na semifinal, mas eu preciso falar do prêmio da audiência, que foi para Sofia Farinon. Parabéns, Sofia.
Thank you.
Isso aí, parabéns a todos.
Bom, gente, é isso aí, pessoal. Queria muito agradecer a presença de todos vocês aqui. Eu espero que vocês tenham curtido, assim como eu curti estar aqui com vocês. Parabéns a todo mundo pelos ótimos discursos de vocês. E é isso. Fiquem ligados aqui na plataforma, porque às 16h10 começaremos as apresentações das últimas categorias do dia, às 7 e 8, ok? Até já!